Looking for an art journal, junk journal, or other mixed media journal art project to do? This mixed media art project can be a standalone art tutorial of a cute little frog, or you can cut it out and collage it onto an art journal page such as this. I actually have 2 YouTube videos outlining the entire process of this mixed media junk journal page. One that's time-lapsed, and the second one where I'm narrating the step-by-step descriptions of how to create this background. This video is a bonus lesson. In case you don't have a collage element such as the scrapbook frog that I used in the first lesson, and you want to create your own frog. In fact, I got so excited about my frog making that I made enough happy frogs to string into a ribbon banner for my wall. And there's one more video demonstrating how to do that as well. Related videos are linked in the description, and thanks so much for subscribing. My goal is to create at least 3 different types of frogs that are inspired by this one, different versions of frogs or varieties of them. The original one is from some scrapbook paper by Basic Gray. Draw some circles. You don't need to outline them with the marker or pen like I did. I just did so that will show up. You can trace circles or use any number of circle drawing implements such as a compass. For these that are kind of like wobbly spirals, I had a stencil that I used part of it for those. And I did cut out one to do a collage. So mixed media frogs, here we go. I have not practiced these beforehand, so we are playing and experimenting together. I would first like to start with dropping in some watercolor using a wet on wet technique. In these top circles so they can be drying while I work on some of the other circles. With watercolor, I like to use a lot of water. I like to trust the paint to do its thing. So I put down plain water, and then I'm choosing whatever colors feel like they want to be. First I used the lavender, now a green, whatever colors. I mean, it could be the realistic froggy colors, or you could try some non-frog colors for abstract frog. I will let that one dry and move on to the second one. Again, laying down the water and thinking that I should go with something different than the first one. I don't know, I think I'm gonna leave it right like that. So there's some watercolor backgrounds. Now I'll use some high flow acrylic and then also some fluid acrylics to playfully design more circular bodies of the frogs. Use any kind of art supplies that you choose, whatever you have, working in patterns and colors that you like. I will also bring in some Ecoline brush pens dry and then add water with a paintbrush on top of them to blend the colors, and then finish it up with a bright highlighter until all the frog bodies are colored. And then thinking of some little froggy eyes popping up off the head to make a character. I didn't plan to intentionally work in all the same color palette, but it is kind of fun to do these different variations with similar colors, so I can work back and forth between them, see something in one that might inspire me in the next one. Maybe even use some of this wet pen color right there. I'm not entirely certain where I'm gonna be going with these legs, but I do like the title of this frog to be Jumping for Joy, so I do want to show some of that action in the frog. I'm trying to think of what shapes I would use. Like so we've got circles, semicircles, triangles on the legs. Create your frog so that each one is unique with personality and character. I decided to do a whole collection of frogs to show you a variety of examples and then choose what to do with them later. You might want to design just one frog to collage onto the art journal background tutorial that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. Play with outlining and patterning however you choose. You could also do the little fly that is in the scrapbook paper that I did use on the finished art journal page as well. Now I'm bringing in some white gesso, which is my go-to white rather than white acrylic paint. This isn't really dry enough for a stencil, but for some reason I feel like trying it anyway. And then maybe switching up the brushes to a finer tip to have some more control over it. Still playing, having fun. You get the idea. I'm going to jump ahead to the point in this project where all the frogs are finished with the painting step and tell you what's next. At this point, I'm going to pause to let them dry and gather some papers for some collaging. After a full drying time, I have cut out the pieces that need appendages, and the ones with the legs and eyes are still on this paper. I prefer to do stencils with a heavy body acrylic because it's firmer and it stays more solid inside the design of a stencil, but I don't have any right now, so let's see what we can do. This is really watery, but let's try. This is the perfect kind of art project to experiment with different materials and techniques because there's so many frogs we've got going on. Let your creative desires run wild and see where it takes you with the details on these happy little critters. So there's that pattern. I'm not sure if I'm going to do all of these frogs all the way to the end or at what point I'm going to choose my favorites. Although it might make kind of a fun art journal page to have a whole bunch of frogs on it. Oftentimes I like to save white paint until other colors have already been painted and dried,
White brightens up things, balances out other bright colors by toning them down, and it's more gentle than black outlining or details, although I do like a good bold black outline as well.
I'll now set these aside to have their additional drying time while I look at these other pieces that I've cut out. I really like the 2 watercolor ones as well. I will now be exploring through my small scrap paper bin to see what might go nicely with these. Folding this paper in half, I will cut out some eyes.
What kind of eyes would you like to give your own frogs? I'm collaging with some scrapbook paper and also some magazine pages to do the eye shapes as well as the eyeballs. Then I'll use a black Posca paint pen to really bring these frogs to life by adding the pupils into the center of their eyes. I'd love to know what you're creating. Leave me a message in the comments and let me know if you're making your own frogs or what this project has inspired you to create.
I decided to have some of the frogs looking straight ahead, some to the side, some up, some down, just giving them a little character and personality, some expression. Maybe they're looking at each other, maybe they're looking at other elements on the page, maybe they are looking at that fly. I don't know, I thought I was doing a short bonus lesson to add on to that other one, but somehow I'm kind of feeling like this is becoming a lesson in its own, and these all need to go on their own art journal page also. I think I'll spend some time with the Posca and continue with some outlining and details.
There we go. I knew I couldn't resist outlining with some black as well. It's really bold, makes a sharp statement, and makes these frogs stand out. Just be sure your paint is completely dry before using a Posca paint marker.
This one I hadn't cut out yet because I thought it would be fun to do some rubber stamps over it right off the frog image itself and then cut it out. I was in the middle of rubber stamping on top of this frog when the memory card on my camera ran out, so that part didn't get recorded. I just did some overlapping stamps and then cut that one out. So my thought now is to continue on with arms, legs, mouths, and to bring in some of the red color from the inspiration piece. So I'll flip over the paper that I'm going to be using and draw some of the legs on here. I'll draw it a little bit longer so I can put glue on the back. And then cut those out.
These are starting to feel a bit like frog paper dolls, don't you think? Let's take a short musical break as I attend to the details of these frogs.
Here's the plain circle that I had cut out in the beginning to collage on also.
Well, this is a lot of detailed collage pieces. I ended up cutting most of the appendages out freehand, and I like the loose, childlike joy that it brings to the project, so the frogs don't look like they're all made out of the same cookie cutter pattern. But they are unified, with almost all of them having the same sized body and similar color palettes. Let's keep going and finish them up. I'll clear this batch of frogs out of the way. Did you remember that there were more? Let's revisit the painted ones and give them mouths as well. I had to look it up and discover what a group of frogs is called. It's called an army, a colony, or a congregation. There's your trivia for the day in this art journal project.
And then cutting these fun characters out. I have decided what I'm going to do with these. I wasn't planning this. I thought, oh, I'll just make a couple little frogs to go along with the first art journal page and to give some variety, some ideas of different options that you have if you wanted to create your own for putting on top of the other background. And then as I was going, I thought, my goodness, I have a lot of frogs here. I could do another journal page. And then I thought, well, if I do another one, I have so many frogs that they're going to overrun the journal page, and then I'll have to do a spread and another one. So you know what I'm going to do? I decided that I'm going to do a little banner. I'm going to get a cord or string, yarn, ribbon, something, and I'm going to put all of these little frogs on them to decorate my art studio so they can hang in a banner on display. So coming up with a additional way that these frogs can be used in your artwork. Stay tuned to the end of the video to see how that all comes together.
Whoops, I found one frog that didn't have eyeballs, or the pupils in the eyeballs. Let's add those in, and then I'm going to emphasize the smile on all of the frogs as well. While I complete this step, and before I join this congregation of frogs onto their banner, I'll mention that I've got a whole treasure chest of mixed media art tutorials here for you at Creative Solace Studios on YouTube. Check out the playlist tab for the art tutorials playlist. You'll find art journal and junk journal techniques, nature journal inspiration, and loads of mixed media creativity, including some 5-minute art ideas. The shorts videos are little snippets of projects less than 60 seconds each. And if you got into frog making as much as I did, you can find that link about how to assemble multiple frog friends into a cheerful ribbon banner in the description of this video as well.
Thanks for watching, subscribing, and liking this video. I'm Kathleen Arola-Johnson, and I'm interested in the comments to know what you would like to do with these cute little mixed media frogs that are jumping for joy.